Hello, hello, and welcome back to another episode of Diaries of a Six-Figure Coach podcast. I am so excited because today I'm here with Alicia Cramer, who is an absolutely brilliant entrepreneur, business mindset expert. And Alicia and I have met a few months ago now. And I feel like ever since I've met Alicia and have had conversations with you, my life keeps changing. The way I do things keeps changing, which is kind of like the hilarity of life, I guess. But she is a really bright light, and she's my first guest on my podcast. So this is really special. And I can't wait to have this conversation with you, Alicia, because it's going to be a juicy one and it's going to be deep. Like, I know it.
We'll kick things off in like the right way. Let's get some crazy good momentum going.
Oh my God, I believe so. I believe so. And you and I, just before we jumped on, I sort of just shared a little bit with you on where I'm at energetically and how I'm realizing that my separation and the things I've been moving through in my private life has been catching up with me, and that it's really been causing me to stop and think about the way I've been growing my business and how I can show up and what you do and how you help your clients being so relevant to be able to actually grow and scale our businesses. And I would love to for you to just fill in what's coming up for you, and what is it that you help your clients with that is so substantially vital to be able to actually have a successful business.
Life is going to happen. It is. It's not always rainbows and butterflies. There's ups and there's downs. When I'm working with a client, they're transitioning through so much stuff. We can have a breakthrough session where some old pattern comes up and we create a profound shift. An old limiting belief, just like that, crushed. And it's one of those epiphany, aha moments where they can feel their entire state of being shift. And they're high on life. And they send me an email or text or something after that. And they're like, that was absolutely amazing. And this good thing happened, and that good thing happened, and this happened after we had our session. And then, a couple of weeks go by and they're still, kind of coasting, and what we're working on is a little bit lighter, not so heavy stuff. And they're still doing good. They're still doing good. And then wham, get on the phone and it's like, holy shit, they're a mess because they got triggered, because life happens, because we all have unhealed, unresolved, unworked through stuff, old patterns, old beliefs that just simply do not serve us. They are not for our highest and greatest good. It's just crap that gets programmed into us. And in business, we're contending not only with all of our old stuff, our old conditioning. What did our parents think about money? What beliefs were programmed into us about what's right and what's wrong and how we're supposed to be and how we're supposed to show up in the world. And it's not safe to be showing your wealth or whatever it is, right? But then we're seeing what's happening in our industry. We're seeing what our colleagues are doing. We're seeing everyone else who appears to be thriving and succeeding. And it's triggering your unresolved insecurities. It's triggering that stuff that you haven't worked through yet. And so as business owners, we compartmentalize a lot of our problems because we can't be wearing everything on our sleeve. We can't let our employees know that we're having problems in our relationship or that, you can't tell your clients that, oh, I just had a really, really bad month financially, or got some unexpected, thing that just threw me off. You've got to put on your big girl pants and your happy face, and you just do your thing and you put your stuff off on the shelf. But what happens is that stuff is still there, and you're still feeling it, and you're still thinking it, and it's still affecting your mindset. And that is affecting how you show up, how you do your marketing, how you have conversations, when you're hiding and when you're retreating. And if we're going to get metaphysical, you got those bad vibes flowing. Guess what? We know the laws of the universe, like attract like. So you're going to begin to see evidence all around you of your mixed bag of emotions. Some, when you're flying high, you got some good stuff. When things not so great, you got some not so great stuff. And we start to see all the evidence of that in our life. And we've got to navigate all of those things and still be in the right mindset to keep moving forward in the direction of our goals, our dreams, for ourselves, for our clients, our customers, our family, the people we love. And that's the inner work.
Wow. It's like you're describing my life to me right now.
Well, you've got to understand that this is what I do with people professionally. So when it comes to understanding how people tick, I understand how people tick. And even successful people have bad days. Even successful people have heartaches and heartbreaks and setbacks and failures. It's part of the game. And having that support system, even just having this type of conversation, sometimes to remind ourselves, you know what? Shit sucks right now, but it's not going to suck forever. It's going to be okay.
Oh, yes to all of this. This is exactly why I was like, I'm reaching out to Alicia and I've got to have you on this podcast, and I have to have this conversation with you and bring your insights to my community, because so much of what you said, I relate, because I'm going through something big in my life right now. And I knew as I was embarking on this journey and I made this decision, ultimately, I already knew that I was ready to do deep inner work. And I got myself the guidance, and I got myself, like, I just was moved, like, ethereally. I've been moved with my intuition in ways that I never have. And I'm very connected, and I've been called to do all the healing, to deal with all of my stuff, to look at what's working, what's no longer working. And the triggers that you talk about, those triggers are real. Like, those triggers are real. And in the last couple of weeks, it's really caused me to not be able to show up for everything that I do. And it's made me really reflect deeply on my business model, how I've grown it to now, which I did it very successfully, and that it's time to make changes, to hire a team, to bring people on board, to make the necessary changes that I need to do, so I have the capacity to scale my business from here. Because right now I have a capacity issue, and adding everything that I'm going through personally on top, it's too much. Like, I've had days where it's just all been too much, and I've managed to still show up for my clients and to show up for the things that are really important. But even to admit to myself that right now my healing is more important and this is where my work is, or to move through the triggers, right? Like, yesterday was a day for me where I was like, literally on the floor in breakdown for hours. And then I picked myself up for some client meetings that I had amazing sessions with my clients who had breakthroughs. And then I went back into meltdown. And then I went outside, I got myself up, I went for a walk, I breathed through it, I talked through it with someone. And like I came to the end of the day and I was like, wow, like that's a day in an entrepreneur. And I couldn't imagine to navigate it on my own.
There are a lot of people out there navigating it on their own. When I started my hypnotherapy practice back in 2010, I had people coming in for all of the conventional hypnosis stuff: weight loss, quitting smoking, fear of public speaking, fear of flying, confidence issues, those types of things. And it's interesting because some of the clients that ended up staying on with me for a long time, they were business owners, and they came in for something completely unrelated to what they really, really, really needed. I mean, they still needed it. So, for instance, one of my early clients, my long-term, most successful business clients, he came in to quit smoking. He did a 3-session package. It was $500.
I love it.
And he quit smoking. And he wanted to continue working together because it was relaxing. It was therapeutic. It was an opportunity for him to express what he was dealing with in his company. Challenges with, it was a family business. It was a distribution company. There wasn't always agreements in how things were run, amongst family members. There were employee issues that were stressful. There were, just tough days. And I quickly realized that a lot of very successful business owners are suffering in silence because it's taboo to share what's going on. It's taboo to ask for help. So it was socially acceptable to go and get help to quit smoking with a hypnotherapist. And over the many, many years, I've obviously transitioned away from, being a general hypnotherapist, and hypnosis is obviously something I very much still incorporate into the work that I do with my clients. However, even after all of these years, over a decade of doing this work, people who come to me, not all the time, some people are direct. Some people are like, shit has hit the fan for me financially. I have been stuck in a rut. I know there is an old trauma here that I need to work through from an epic failure from the past. And, it's bad news and I've got to do something about it. But a lot of people still come in and it's like, hey, can you help me with this one thing? This one thing, like this higher level thing that's not so uncomfortable to talk about. And I welcome them with open arms because I know, I get it. It's like, that's what you need to do to give yourself permission to get the support that you need. And so we work through that thing. And then the real shit comes out, But that's where all the growth happens. That's where all the magic happens. That's why there is this constant up-leveling to new heights. Doesn't mean that you're not going to stumble and fall sometimes.
Yeah.
But the growth trajectory is incredible when you're doing that deeper inner work and you're reprogramming yourself. You're getting rid of the old crap little by little when you bump up against it, and then shifting your mindset and shifting your beliefs and shifting your image about who you are and what you're worthy of and what is safe, right, and good for you to really have and experience in your life. And that's where the real magic happens.
This is so good. And I want to touch on a few things that you mentioned there. And one thing that I always share with my clients is that what we really got to do and understand is that it's not about short-term gratification, but long-term satisfaction. is where it's at. And I feel like that in growth, I feel like that in business strategy, I feel like that with life. Like so often we make choices that give us short-term gratification. We pick the one thing that we're like, oh, if I work through that one thing, like if I stop smoking, if I lose the 10 pounds, if I, like just get more clients coming in through the door, then all my problems will be gone. Or if I have more money, then all my problems will be gone. If I resolve the conflict, all my problems will be gone. If this one trigger is gone, all my problems will be gone. And the truth is, like you said, it's almost like it's just a first domino. So if you're willing to have the first domino fall, then it's literally like, and especially with the inner work, especially with the work that I believe, like for me, and that's really sunk in, that it's the inner work, the spiritual work that we do that gives us the sense of safety and security. And that allows us to move with certainty and to move with faith and to keep going when things don't go well, over the strategy and the doing and the things, right? Like all the stuff that we can see tangibly, it seems so sexy at the start, but it's really the work that we do on the back end, the rewiring, the recommuting, the healing, the understanding that we get to let go of beliefs and create more empowering ones, that really ends up allowing us to not just find success in an external way, business success, for example, but actually find a state of being that gives us fulfillment and contentment on a long-term basis, which is so much more important. And, one thing that you touched on, and that is a barrier that I'm trying to take down, is that the conversations we're having, even about the conversations that we need to take care of, are so superficial. And the level of transparency and authenticity I know for me in the coaching industry is very shallow. Most people never really share at a deep level what's going on, whether that is financially, whether that is in their personal life, whether that is with what's working. And this podcast is part of my commitment to sharing the truth and to playing a bigger game and to really let people in on the stuff that happens and that I'm going through, which is me calling myself out on a lot of things and sharing things that I wouldn't have dared to say out loud. And that within itself has become healing. And I love that you mentioned that with your clients, that the first thing gets you through the door, but if you're open to actually go deeper, if you're open to even choose to be in a space and have conversations with somebody like you, Alicia, to work through it, even that will bring you so much more healing, so much more prosperity, so much more fulfillment into your life, and so much more success as a result of it. Because you're also starting to have more truthful, authentic conversations in a safe space.
Yes. The inner work that we're talking about is the foundation. And all the strategy and all the tactics and all of the actions, that's like you building your dream home. So if you don't have a good foundation to build your dream home on, I don't know if I can say that word, but
you can
fucked.
swear on this podcast. You know me. Fuck. Swear away. I said it.
So when people are trying to out action their misalignment and their limiting beliefs and their bad energy, it's so ineffective, and it further compounds the frustration and the self-doubt.
Yeah. So true. So Alicia, like if somebody is listening to this conversation and like, I mean, I resonate like with everything that you say. And I feel like even if you listen to it and like you want to agree and you don't know if you can drop the resistance, which this is what the inner work is really is. It's taking down more and more resistance. And I feel like this is the work, like resistance gotta come down if you want to grow. Like in business, personally, if you want to heal, right? It's about taking down this resistance. But if somebody's listening to this and they can resonate and they're like, wow, okay, like I feel like there is something to be said to do this inner work. There is something for me to start taking a step. Like, if where would you recommend that somebody starts that is sort of listening and resonating, but maybe they're still feeling blocked and a lot of resistance to even begin, because it's not always uncomfortable to do the work.
It's not comfortable. And even those of us who have been doing this work for a very long time, we are going to be resistant in certain areas. So I personally have completely transformed the person that I once was. I was the depressed girl who was suicidal and angry and struggled with addiction and toxic relationships and all sorts of things that now it's like, oh, goodness, that's rough. But to have completely transformed my inner state and my outer reality, I still sometimes find myself in a situation in some area of my life or business where it's like, there's a fucking block here. There is something, and I feel like I am bouncing my head off the fucking wall here. Because there are fears that sometimes we don't feel strong enough to face, that we don't want to deal with. They hurt too much. And we fiddle fuck around looking for this solution and that strategy and that tactic. And if I could just increase my revenue, then that will not be an insecurity anymore. Guess what, friends? That's not the way it works, because you're going to experience the same exact phenomenon that every other successful business person experiences. You achieve the goal. If you achieve the goal, you achieve the goal because you're so focused on achieving the goal. And what you focus on, you can create it, even if you got all sorts of wacky stuff going on, even if you're a total, mental case, you can achieve all sorts of stuff if you focus hard enough. But here's what happens. You get it and you feel like shit. It's empty. It's hollow. And now you actually feel worse because, and this is a phenomenon that occurs, look at moms who go through postpartum depression. They think having the baby is going to fill them up. It's going to give them the feeling of love and the feeling of fulfillment and all of that stuff that their heart desires. And when they have the baby and their inner world hasn't changed, they just manifested the baby, right? But they haven't healed their stuff, which is where the love and the fulfillment and all the goodness comes from. Well, when you achieve the goal that you think is going to make you feel better, and then it doesn't make you feel better, now you're really fucked, because then what? So you've got to do the inner work. You've got to feel the healed version of yourself first, because the money is not going to do it. The money can't do it. The goals that you achieve cannot do it. I can't tell you over the years how many clients I have had say to me, I achieved, all of these incredible things, and then I don't enjoy it. I don't appreciate it. It doesn't make me happy like I thought it was going to make me happy. Well, that's why.
Yeah, you can't outrun that stuff. And, as you were saying that, what's next, all I could think is chasing. Then we become goal chasers, achievement chasers, it's like the result is what determines our inner state, what determines our worth. And so we become our results. And as long as we deliver results, we feel worthy and whole to some extent, but we always have to chase the next thing, because the second it's there, it doesn't mean anything more. The second you've made it, it doesn't mean anything more. And we are not our results. And I love that you shared about your transformation, and thank you so much for being, vulnerable and sharing that. And this transformation, when we do this inner work, it changes our outer world. Like the inner work changes your outer world to what you actually want it to be, rather than a default of the idea that you think is going to fix the thing. Because you're not fixable. Like, we're not fixing people, right? Like, inner work isn't about fixing, but it's really about becoming. It's like unbecoming all the things that you're not and becoming who you really are. And that might sound really cliche in some ways, but it is so true, right? Like, it's like, do the work. And I love that you mentioned that in that example that you brought up, I think is pretty, it is a big one, right? Like, we could manifest something like a child, like a baby, and we think it will give us love and fulfillment. But if we aren't giving it to ourselves first, it doesn't matter what comes into your life. Even if you gave life, which is one of the most amazing things, and as a result, our outer world again isn't what we want it to be. And then we got to go back to the healing. Like that is the, like, it always comes back to that. It fascinates me now so much, because I feel like right now, what I'm going through, by the end of a week, I'm not the same person that I was at the beginning of a week. Like, who I was 2.5 months ago is not the person who I am today. But also, who I was on Monday is not the person I am today. Like, I'm dedicating a lot of time to my healing right now and to moving through all of it. And every time something comes up, I pick it up and I look, and sometimes it's frustrating, but I know in order to be able to have the life that I want, I know this is the only way. Like, my business isn't broken. Like, my strategies aren't broken. Like, that's the thing. Like, it's all good, but there is so much healing to be done, and the healing's got to come. And it's so much of, like, it's so vital. Like, it is so vital. So I really hope that everybody listening is really understanding the importance of this. And the question is really, what do you really want? What do you really want? Do you want to be able to say you have a successful business that's making you loads of money? Or do you want to actually feel like you're living your life in a way that fulfills you, that makes you happy, that you feel loved and safe and supported and joyful and content? I feel like content and satisfied are like huge ones for me. Freedom is another one. Like, I want to embody living a life that feels like freedom and spaciousness. And I can't do it without healing all my shit. It is not possible. Literally, I've like pulled out all the things in my business recently, including realizing that a lot of the things I was doing in my business and building them allowed me to escape from my life, because I
So
didn't like
common.
the way my life was. And so I found a way to escape it, and it looked beautiful, and my work fulfills me so much. So it's an easy one for me. I love my work. I love my clients. I love all of that. But now that I'm having no reason to escape my life anymore, I'm realizing that I actually really love living my life.
I refer to what you're going through as a growth spurt.
Oh, yeah.
It's a more positive way of reframing when things get really out of whack. But I've always said that this is the opportunity for us to release and let go of all of the old stuff that we can't take with us to the next level. That old stuff, your old unhealed wounds, your old self-image that does not align with that beautiful version of you and your life that you are feeling inspired to create, because it is what your heart truly desires. And you can't take the old limiting beliefs with you. You cannot take the old crappy patterns with you. And it doesn't always feel good when they're coming up in big waves for you to see them for what they really are, recognize that they're just old patterns, that they no longer serve you, and be willing and able to process through them so you can make a more empowering choice. But you have to. You cannot take that stuff with you up to the next level.
Yeah, you gotta let it go. My word of like this has been surrender and let go. Surrender and let go. Like I'm free falling. And as I'm free falling through this experience, I'm allowing myself to fall, which is like, think of how it feels when you fall backwards. Like, and or when you're on one of these swings, and you go the other way. That is how I feel every day. And I keep whenever it gets too intense, because there's moments like I shared, it just gets so intense. What you just said, I actually envision just because I'm falling backwards and I can't see where I'm falling, it pulls away all the things. So as I'm falling slower. It's almost like the heaviness goes and it pulls, like the wind and the falling, it pulls it away. And I'm like, yeah, like I'll grow wings on this way down. Like I am growing wings on this way down. Like I know. And faith will be my guide. Like it doesn't matter. Everything's fine. But that's the feeling and the surrender of it and the letting go of it. When it's like, but I like it to be heavy. And I'm like, do I really like it to be heavy? Is that really true? I find has been such a powerful experience for me and so profound. And you're right. Like I am inspired to design my life now. And it's been crazy and beautiful all at the same time. And I love that I get to have conversations with beautiful people like yourself and with some other people that have been really supporting me through this, because these in itself, like I feel like I've healed another part just by having this conversation with you today. And I would love for you to share how people can reach out to you and connect with you, because I really feel that the work you're doing is such a gift to the world and to everybody who chooses to come in it.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
So the best way to connect with me is through my website, aliciacramer.com. Everything that you need to support you is going to be there. So I have my business success course hypnosis audio program as a free opt-in. People just want to work on that inner game, work on their business mindset. They're looking for deeper level of support. I've got my business mindset mastery program. And one of the very first things we do, which you mentioned, is get really, really, really honest about what your heart truly desires. And then we start cleaning up all the bullshit and we elevate you to that higher level in a way that is aligned, so that the strategies and the tactics are being built on a truly solid foundation. And of course, there's also information about working with me one-on-one.
I love it. I love it. Well, I would recommend everyone to reach out to Alicia to check out what she's got going, to head to her website. I'll make sure that all your links are here as well. And you are such a wealth of knowledge. Thank you so much for coming onto this podcast, for sharing. Like, I just, I know I'm going to have like a lot like coming through for me, like after this conversation. But just again, the importance, and I feel like that has really, like I've always done the inner work. I've done it for years now. I've been on this journey of growth for years, but it's this experience right now is nothing like I've ever experienced on so many levels. And it's humbled me, and it's made me care more, and it's made me feel more love unconditionally for myself than I've ever felt, including really being reconnected with faith and source. And it's amazing what's possible when we allow ourselves to go through this. And I've had the opportunity to experience some of what you do and some of the hypnotherapy you do, and I've had some incredible conversations with you. And yeah, I would highly recommend that everyone reaches out to you. So as we wrap this up, and of course the conversation went longer than I thought it would, because it's too juicy to stop, and that's okay. But is there anything that you would like to share that you haven't yet, that you feel called to share with my audience on this podcast?
One of the things that I want you and everyone else to remember is when we're going through the hard stuff, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't. But on the other side of it is so much goodness. So much goodness. And you may not be able to see clearly and fully objectively the blessings that are here for you in going through all of the hard stuff and what led up to the breakdown, but it truly is the breakdown before the breakthrough.
I love that. I feel that so much. Alicia, thank you so much. This is a wrap for this episode. Everyone out there, if you're heading for breakdown, just know the breakthrough is coming. Embrace it. Reach out to Alicia, and just know some beautiful things are waiting for you. So thank you. Have an amazing day, and we'll be back next week for another episode of Dissecting Success. No, this is the Diaries of a Six-Figure Coach podcast. Welcome to my life. When you're going through breakthroughs and these transitions, also, you're gonna say some of the things that just don't make sense, and I'm just gonna embrace my mess right now. So thank you, and I'll chat soon.